Welcome, Todd, Sue Carr, Matthew Shaw. Haven't seen you in a while. It's nice to see you.
Yeah, lots of familiar faces.
Good. All right, we're going to get going then. Or do you want me to wait? I'll just wait just a second.
Yeah, the go live timed out.
But we're recording, so that's good.
I'm going to stop that and restart that.
Let's give you a sec.
Yep. Sorry for the tech issues.
You good? There we go. Good afternoon. I'm Paul Markle, interim executive today for our workshop, Building Your Brand Without Breaking the Bank. Now more than ever, having a solid brand strategy in place is critical to your company's success. Brand is more than just your logo and business card. It's how you want your customers to see you. Your brand represents your company values and culture, enabling you to make a real connection with your customers. In today's workshop, we will be looking to enhance your the visual component of your brand, exploring a variety of free marketing resources and highlighting how you can put them to work for your brand, no matter your graphic skill level. So I'm happy to introduce our own communications and marketing and membership coordinator, Kayla McCarville. Many of you may know Kayla from the many different events that we have going on, but many of you may not know that Kayla actually holds an honors diploma focused on advertising and digital photography and imaging from Georgian College. She's worked in advertising and marketing for over a decade and uses her varied skill set to benefit both her customers and her employers, and does a great job for us here at the Chamber. Since joining the Chamber, Kayla has taken many steps to focus our brand, refining the visual messaging, developing brand standards and guidelines, building an online presence, and ensuring that the brand is top of mind for the whole team. She's continued her education on the subject, taking many courses to hone her skills, regularly collaborating with other experts and flexing her design muscles and through volunteer work. So before I begin, I'm going to ask that if you have any questions, please go to the bottom of your screen in the Q&A section and put your questions in there. We will get to them as we go through after Kayla's presentation. But if you put stuff in chat, I may see it, may not. So use the Q&A. That's going to make things go a lot smoother. So without further ado, we're gonna pass this off to Kayla and let her do her thing for the next half hour. Go ahead, Kayla.
Thanks, Paul. So I'm Kayla. I'm the marketing communications coordinator at the Barrie Chamber of Commerce. I've been there for about 3 years, and it's been great. I really enjoy it. And I'll just get right to the presentation. So basically, we wanted to talk to you about how to utilize free marketing items online. And there's a lot of them out there, and there's a lot of things to consider when you're putting together your brand. So I've come up with my top 5 tips and some pieces to go with each. So number 1, your social media scheduling. 2, royalty-free images, and we'll get more into that in a minute. 3, creating professional graphics. 4, content timing. And 5, establishing your online voice. So to start, your social media scheduling. There's so many different ways of doing this, and as a beginner, you can easily just start typing out a notes or a Excel document and go through and start thinking about how you want to start tackling your company's story. So the first one I'm talking about is Hootsuite. It would be more of the advanced level, but there is a free version of it that's available. There's also a free version of Buffer, which is a similar platform. It allows you to put out 30 posts at a time over all of your platforms. So it is somewhat limiting if you have 4 platforms that you're posting to at a time. But if you're only posting to Facebook once a month or once every day in a month, you've got 30 posts to work with for free. But you can connect all of your platforms to it and monitor them. through there too. So it's a great resource, and something a lot of people I don't think realize is how to start going with Hootsuite. And so one of the things I would recommend is going in once a month or twice a month and putting together what you think your schedule could be there. So if you wanted to keep your consistency, which you do, you could go in and have a post going out every Tuesday of the month, and that's pre-scheduled and ready to go. It's showing that you're active online and you're ready to put in your other content when it comes in, but at least you've got something and you know you don't have to worry about it. So the other tip I had was creating drafts through Instagram. So when you go in and use Instagram, it has the ability to post across platforms as well. You can post to Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and a couple others all at the same time. So it makes it really easy that if you're thinking ahead and you've got this great idea for a post that you want to put out, you can start typing it and edit the photo and have it all ready to go. But then if you go to abort your image posting right before it'll ask you if you want to save the draft. I would always say yes, just because it gives you extra content. So on days when there's really nothing going on, or if there's a week when you don't have much to post, it sits there and it's ready to go when you are, and you post it when you have the time. Or you can use that literally as your scheduling system, because you can have 5 to 10 posts, I believe, saved in there ready to go from your drafts. So I've done this before where we have an upcoming event and we had the content ready to go, but it wasn't quite the right time. But when it was, you go in and you hit send, and all of a sudden all 3 platforms are getting it at that time, and it's good. So one of the most basic forms that I talked about was having this Excel document. So simply opening up Excel, putting in your dates across the board and which platforms you're going to use on the other side, and writing in what you want to post on those days or how you're going to post on those days. And it's pretty easy. It helps you frame out your company's story through posts, and it shows a consistency. And also, if there's anyone who's needing to check in on what you're doing, it's a great way to show we've got a plan, it's in place. And then for really very simple is having a notes app on your phone. So I know most people have that going, and just writing in there, hey, there's a special day coming up that goes with my business. So what I've written in there is an example. If you're a veterinarian and National Dog Day is coming up in September, make note of that and start thinking about the content that you're going to put out. Maybe you're going to ask a bunch of your clients to send in photos of their dogs. Maybe you're just going to find your favorite dog image and put it out there, but at least you've got that started in your head. But things that make sense with your business are always good days to promote. So my next one that I want to talk about are royalty-free images. So it's really important that you're using images that are not copyrighted. So we run into this all the time. I see it all the time on social media, people using images that have watermarks right across them and images that you've seen that they definitely don't own. It's really important to protect your business integrity by creating your own content. So basically, I have some tips on that. So one of the things is establishing a stock image library. I can show you what ours looks like quickly if you want. And this is something that I've put together in our time at the chamber. So basically it just shows you, we've got all different images and all of them have a little bit of yellow, a little bit of blue, because that's what goes with our brand. And then they're just very generic. So when you're trying to come up with a post and you require an image to go with it, it's there and ready to use, but you haven't had to do any of the work of going out and actually taking that photo. So it makes it a lot easier when you're creating your content. You don't have to think as hard, which is always good. So then we can go back in here. Create your own images too. So just because you don't think your images are the greatest, even images you're taking on your iPhone or your cell phone, they work. Also, mini process videos. People will sit for hours and watch process videos of you creating your product because it's something new, it's something different, it's something they haven't seen before. So people want to get to know you, and that's one way of doing it. It also shows genuine it makes you look more genuine. Like they are creating that product right there. Why not show it? Especially if it's something unique. So those are my few tips on royalty-free images. I've also got a list at the end of the presentation of free websites you can use. So a couple of the ones that we use regularly are Pixabay and Pexels. And both options there now have options to take royalty-free videos as well. So if you're finding that video is the way you want to go, those are available too. The next point is creating professional graphics. So one of the most used tools by beginner marketers and all marketers really is Canva. So if you haven't heard of it, it's a free platform and there are so many templates and options. You can make your own marketing and keep it consistent throughout. So in order to share what we do for ours, I was going to share our Chamber Canva account with you, just so you get an idea of what we do. So we've got all of our posts ready to go. You can see I've put together the presentation here as one of them too, and it shows you the different pages. And then as you go through, all of them start to look the same. And you'll also notice that within that, your colors start to match and they go together, all of them, without it starting to be like, what are you talking about? Does your brand go together? For instance, the taking purposeful brand actions, we put in blue, yellow, and gray. And that was a purposeful move on our part because those are our branded colors. The other part of Canva that's awesome is the homepage. So when you come in and you have no idea what to create or what you want to do with your social media posts, is it gives you ideas. So for instance, if you wanted to type in and look for a brochure template, it can come up with all of those, a presentation template, Facebook post, and it gives you the dimensions next to each of them too when you click on it. So like our Facebook post could be 940 by 788 pixels. Something you may not really pay attention to, you just think one size fits all, but really there is a proper size and format for each of these that reacts the best with the algorithms. And then as you scroll down too, you'll notice there's presentations, social media, Instagram, brochure, flyers, animated social posts, YouTube thumbnails, literally anything you're working on, they've got concepts and ideas for you. So then it shows you your recent designs. And then as you go down, it'll start to prompt you with ideas too, like, oh, Canada Day. It's coming up literally this week. If you haven't done a post, this is a simple thing to put together. You can click through and all you would have to do would be to add in your logos, your colors. Maybe you keep the colors, maybe you even keep the text. But in ours, we've uploaded our logo so that it's easily added to a presentation or to any of our posts. And it's that simple. So you can use this to your advantage. We have so many different images and different pieces ready to go. And I uploaded a lot of our stock images in here too, to make it easier to create posts when I'm in the zone, getting them all done. So that's a little brief one on Canva. The other piece to that is that they do have animated graphics on Canva too, which I can share with you as well. For instance, we like to have a post scheduled around each of the holidays that come up throughout the year. So I put together a Canada Day post. You'll see it this Wednesday. And it's animated and the graphics are going and it's something fun. And all of the algorithms really like video right now. So this is a 6-second clip, as you'll see up in the corner here. And all you would have to do to use it would be to go to download, and then it gives you all different options of what type of video. Do you want it to be just a JPEG? Do you want it to be video, PDF, anything like that? You can turn it into a GIF. So lots of different options there. And then from there, you can simply schedule it into where it works for you. So we've done lots of different holidays that way, which is great. And then a couple other ones that I would recommend is the Photoshop app for your phone or wherever you like to use it. But there is a free version, so you can easily go in there and just the quality of your graphics. So if you've taken a photo and it's too dark, or maybe the coloring's just totally off, you can go in there and make some simple adjustments that'll make your photo look much more professional than it did in the beginning. And all of a sudden it is post quality. And then it also has the ability to size your images. So it's important on Instagram, they favor square images to any others. So you can size your images there, and you can color correct, etc. The other great one that we were recommending is Adobe Spark. So it helps you create small videos. So if you're trying to do a compilation video of sorts that you're going to post out to your social media, it sizes it there. Again, there's an app on your phone, so you can literally be on the go creating these things, or when you've got your downtime sitting on the couch watching TV, you can use either of these two apps. Either of them, all three of them really. Canva has an app as well. It's just not as diverse as the online, but you can create your own images and make sure that they're unique to you and your business. So content and timing. So this one's huge because we don't want to have tons and tons of content one month and then you go to having nothing the next. It's really important to keep your consistency. Even when you're busy, having posts scheduled to show that you're working on something looks good. So I've had lots of people ask me like, oh, well, in the summer I have all these jobs booked and I can hardly even think to take a photo of it, let alone post it. The important part is taking that before and after shot of the landscaping work you're doing or the project that you just worked on so that you have them ready to go. And then making that time in your schedule, like we talked about before, of sitting down once a month or twice a month on a Sunday morning or for an hour and putting together that before and after post. Hey, this week we created some really great stuff, and putting that in for the week makes you look busier, even if you are so super busy you don't want the business right now. In the long run, that's going to help you. So the other piece to this is writing your content. So if you're writing your posts from your desktop, we have ways of using the emojis and symbols that people see on their posts through a desktop keyboard. We can also give you the links for those. They're at the end of the presentation. But using emojis makes you look a little bit more fresh, a little bit more fun, and then it also helps with your algorithms because they're favoring those different characters being used. And then again, I talked about the creating national days relevant to your business, product, service in this one. But to kind of give you another iteration of that would be if you're a promotional products brand, you wanted to do National T-shirt Day. Guaranteed there's so many different cool things like this, but asking your viewers or audience to put in a photo of their favorite t-shirt that they own. Maybe it's that one they've had for 20 years with holes all over it, but it's the best t-shirt they've ever worn. And then if they do that, they enter for a chance to win a gift card through your post. And so then the only other piece to that is following through on actually giving away the gift card to your post. But say you had 20 people enter your content, and then those 20 people have a bunch of other people who saw the content because they posted, you're gaining traction to your page. And then once you give away the gift card, when they come in to pick it up or when they get emailed it, have them take a picture or take a picture of them holding it, and it's creating more content for you. So the other part with the consistency is that, like I said, you don't want to have all of it all at once, but you do want to keep consistent. So one of the things I would recommend would be having something to make unique to your business. So for example, if you're a salon owner and you do nails, you do aesthetics, you do hair, have a tip Tuesday. And on Tuesdays, every single week, you're gonna have a new tip. So this is how you can shampoo your hair to make the most of your purchase, or this is this great way to take care of your nails. And then come see us because we've got other options too. But again, it just makes it so when you're super busy throughout the week, because most people are, you've got something ready to go and it's valuable information and it's not just a sell. The other piece to that is not overloading all of your content with sell, 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 because people don't necessarily want to see just this one's $5, this one's $10, come buy this, come buy that. They want to get to know your business. So that's part of establishing your voice online. So are you more casual or are you more formal? Decide on what you're going to use and start being consistent with all of your posts. Of course, there's going to be times when things have to be very formal. Right now, we're all talking about COVID and the closures around that. So that was really important and we had to make it serious. But if we can have more fun and lighthearted posts, that's what our plan is. And that's what we're going to stick to. Writing your posts to only have 2 or 3 sentences is also a great tip. That way it's not always lengthy posts. But again, there are times when a lengthy post is called for. So have a template for your advertising type posts and schedule them. So don't have every single day ad. Instead, have your tip Tuesday, have your staff feature Friday, or things like that. And keep the conversation going between advertising posts and engaging your audience to keep them listening. So again, the before and afters, that's not a sales piece, but it shows a lot of why I would buy with you. So it's a great concept of having in there as content scheduled, hey, we do this, and people are enlightened to that without having to be like, oh, it's this much to get this done today, because you don't want that to be the lead. The other piece to that is showing off your staff. So if you're not just a single-handed person, even if you are, letting people know who you are every once in a while is a great tip. People want to buy from you. So I know a lot of people who do feature Fridays and they'll feature one staff member or themselves. And here's 5 fun facts about me on Friday, and people don't know them. So that's a great way to get engagement and great way to create content too. And then if you have a number of staff, go to each of them. And now you've got 5 months worth of content if you have 5 staff. Or maybe you would like to make sure that your products are featured each Friday. Same kind of concept, but not a sale without it being too much. And then having standard hashtags that you use each time you post. So what we find is that if you have 3 to 5 hashtags, you're going to get some traction to your post. But consider what hashtags you're using. If you go too specific, there's almost no point to having that. So for example, you're in Barrie, you're going to use hashtag Barrie. It's kind of a no-brainer, but a lot of people don't think of this. So using hashtag Barrie, but then you're a vet and they put in their specific veterinary practice name as the second hashtag, isn't as effective as putting hashtag dog, hashtag cat, or hashtag dogs of Instagram, hashtag cats of Instagram will go a long way in comparison. And so my one suggestion with those would be to create a short list of these hashtags that you're going to commonly use. Maybe you have 10 total, just depending on the type of content you're putting out. Save them to a desktop note or in your phone, however you're posting, and you can copy and paste them or just have them as refreshers. Oh, okay, I'm going to make sure I use hashtag Barrie, hashtag dog because today's picture is of a dog, or hashtag waterfront because I'm at the Barrie waterfront. And don't forget to tag other companies that you're teaming with or using. So that's a great way to gain more traction from different followers too. So if you are in downtown Barrie and you're using at downtown Barrie BIA, maybe they'll share your photo for you too. And that way you're getting more traction, more different views that you wouldn't have got before. And then it gets into the links that we have. So I talked a little bit about Pixabay, Pexels. Unsplash is another free content one. But there's so many different places to use free images. It's really important for your legal purposes to make sure that the images you're using aren't duplicated and not content owned by someone else. The other cool part about having so many different free graphics is that you can set yourself apart by not using the same image you think everyone else in the city or everyone else in your field is going to use too. But then that comes back to creating unique content as well. So taking your own photos, making some videos on your own. And then there's a couple of different free desktop emoji keyboards, but the one that I've used before here, you can just type in kind of what you wanted to look up to. But once you click it, it copies it in and you can use that as well. So that's the end of my presentation. I'm sorry, it was a little quick. but I'm happy to help answer any questions. One of the other things I'll mention too is that through the Barrie Chamber, I'm happy to sit down and chat with any of you on what your social media presence is and how you might like to improve it or make changes to it. I can even just go in and take a look at it and give you some honest feedback of where you could go. I've done that with a number of members, and it's been pretty fun for both of us. I love doing that anyway.
Thanks, Kayla. That's you weren't too fast. Actually, we're right on time. I'm just trying to use my. I'm not sure if anyone was on before. My crappy mouse is.
Oh yeah.
On 2 screens, and it's gone AWOL. So to get to our Q&A questions, that was great. Actually, I really enjoyed that. There's a lot of stuff that I was already aware of, but other things that you're using on a regular basis here that I wasn't aware of. So that's kind of cool.
Perfect.
We have a few questions in here, but I think as well, one of the things that we were talking about before, hey, Julie, is there any way of getting all the participants up in a speaker view? So it's not just us?
I don't think so. I can give people permission to speak. I don't know if it'll allow them to share their screen.
Okay. It'd be nice if we just had we only got a few people in here. If we did a mass screen, have a look, see if you can do it. If you can, great.
Oh, it looks like it's working. So I'm just
there
gonna
we go. We're starting to populate. That's cool.
people live.
I like doing these panel interviews when we're talking, but afterwards, if we can get everybody sort of up and engaged, that's great. So if you can turn on your video, we'll see if we can allow that, but just makes it a little easier to see who's here and who's not. But one of the things that we do here at the Chamber is a lot of the content that Kayla creates is, it comes from a collaborative kind of approach. How you want to present a particular topic. Everybody comes up every day with different ideas about things to post, and then they don't always go out immediately. Sometimes they get scheduled to go out at different times, which is actually one of the questions up here. So how often should I be posting on each of the platforms? And another question that I had is, what are the platforms used for? Like what's the most effective platform for different purposes?
Sure. So the one tip I have on using different platforms is focus your efforts on where you're getting your most traction. So there's so many different platforms you can be using, from Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. And even if you're just talking about just those 5, it's not always best to put out every single post to all 5 platforms. It's not going to work. The content doesn't make sense. And then having a specific goal for each platform is helpful as well. So for instance, on YouTube, I'm not going to post there every single day. I'm not a YouTuber. My content doesn't lend to that, but I am going to focus on posting one video a week. So what we did at the Chamber is we came out with our Member Monday videos, which worked great across Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Not as great on LinkedIn, but we would always link to that if someone was interested, but that's not the kind of content that's as relevant there. So focusing your efforts on the platforms that make sense with your business is a really helpful tip. And creating content around those too. So for instance, LinkedIn loves business articles. So if I'm sharing out a press release, that's my go-to platform, as well as Facebook, because our main following is on Facebook. But you can kind of judge them based on that.
Yeah, and you want to kind of create yourself to be, a trusted advisor. You want to have that. You're not selling a product. You're selling yourself. You're selling your business. You're selling your ability to to help somebody with something. So
Yeah.
obviously everybody knows that you're on there because you're trying to sell. But if you can demonstrate your capabilities, then that's always a much better route to go. So as far as the platform's concerned, that's great. But what kind of timing? Like, when should posts be going out? I mean, is Sunday at midnight a great time to send out an interactive post, or is it better for another day?
Right. So then in terms of getting interaction and engagement in posts, it depends on the type of content. So if I'm putting out a timely business article, again, I'm going to make sure it's out as soon as I can. But we find from looking at where people have seen our posts that the afternoon on a weekday is going to get more traction because it goes up at 3 o'clock, but still at 6 o'clock, I'm getting people clicking through and reading it because now they're home from work, they're eating dinner, they're getting caught up on what they've missed throughout the day when they couldn't be on social media throughout the day. Or maybe they were, but they just didn't have a chance.
Right.
But being thoughtful of what you're putting out. Right now we're talking about our Barrie Business Awards. So we put out posts around that, but we've been using it strategically on weekends as well, because people are sitting there and have a bit more time on their hands to go in and click through and nominate right away, rather than it just being all throughout the week.
Yeah, and by the way, that Barrie business, the nominating process is really simple. So, you know, just as a way of getting that out there, it closes on the 6th, and we got to get some more businesses nominated. So, you know, jump on the website and do some of that. But yeah, that's right. It's, you know, everything that we do along those lines is generally very strategic. So
Yeah.
I got a question here from Aaron Holland. When using Hootsuite, you have to modify the image size for each platform, i.e. Instagram is square, LinkedIn is more rectangular, Facebook. We touched on that briefly, but maybe you can expand on it a bit.
Yeah, for sure. So through Hootsuite, it actually gives you the option to resize right there and make sure that the content is going to go to the platform correctly. So Instagram will let you put more of a rectangle image. It will appear in your grid at the bottom as a square, so there might be some cutoff, but when it comes through in your feed, the whole rectangle image will be there rather than just the square. So it does it kind of automatically for you. I like it a lot just because I can resize it. And if I look at the image that I'm trying to put through and I think, hey, it can work all of them as a square, I'll resize it and put it through like that. But typically, I usually make one standard image and put it through all platforms if I can, to save time.
Cool. So another question here is, how many hashtags is too many? Sometimes you see those posts where there's like 62 hashtags and they've you know, the only word that they've got on there of any content is, you know, cool.
Yes.
Is 45 too many, or is 5 a better number?
So there's a couple of different theories on it. Like Instagram likes hashtags, but also they don't want to see the hashtags. So a lot of people who use Instagram will put out an original post. It's mostly just content. And then in the comment section, they'll add in a bunch of hashtags. They could even have 20, 25 hashtags in there. I think it's a lot. And I wouldn't read through any of them, but they're literally only doing it to get those extra views. And then it's a little bit different on LinkedIn. They use hashtags, but they're different types of hashtags, and you only can put a certain amount. So that's where the 3 to 5 is a good amount. If it's something that you're trying to cross promote and do one-time content writing, I would recommend keeping it simple. And Facebook doesn't super react to them anymore at this point too.
Okay. And do you need permission before you say hashtag or tag a business?
I think it's a good idea. Like if you are at that business and you say, hey, do you mind if I tag your business in this post? Most of them are more than happy and excited about that. But depending on the type of post. So if it's someone in the photo, yeah, definitely ask if you can post this photo to your social media, because they may not be comfortable with it. But otherwise, if it's you using their product, most businesses are like, this is free marketing for me. Why wouldn't I let you use it as an influencer? They're not even paying you to use their product, so why not?
Yeah, good point. What should I consider when hiring somebody to do my social media? I mean, we offer that kind of as a service. I mean, we help people out. Maybe something moving forward that we're going to get more involved in. But you know, what should you look at? What should you look at?
I would look at different. If they have any other accounts, first of all, that they say that they're running. Check out the content that they're putting through for that. If that matches with what your brand standards are, then great, go for it. If it doesn't, then it's not the right fit, obviously. But check through, especially if they have a number of different links. Don't just check one and be like, that's perfect. I do nails, they do them. And then you're going to end up with kind of the same content, which you also don't want. But at least you kind of get a feel for their style and their creative style and what they're thinking. But yeah, having someone manage your social media internally versus externally is a big decision, because you still want it to sound like you as the business owner, in my opinion.
Yeah, but again, as you expand and you've got so many balls in the air, sometimes outsourcing that to people that really know what they're doing is well worth the time and the effort. Today we're talking about how to do this sort of on a budget. But you know, if you're a bit more advanced or your business is a bit more advanced, that might be something to look at.
Yes, and we have 3 or 4 different chamber members that do it too. Yeah. So we'd be happy to help connect you with them as well.
Absolutely. So the other thing you talked about was the free images that are available. I know that when I was developing, my website, I wanted some specific content, specific colors, and I had a hard time finding free images on that. So I used a company called Shutterstock,
Yep.
and then went in and paid. It doesn't cost a lot of money, but I basically got rights to a couple of images, and then I could reuse those images, along the way with permission. And they were unique and not something that was out there that everybody was using. So sometimes, being on a budget is great, but you want the content to be meaningful. So getting a paid image sometimes makes sense. I think iStock is another one too.
iStock for sure.
Yeah.
And the one thing I'd put with that point too is that if you are buying those images, make the most of them. Use them, but don't use them on every single post. Don't use them on every single marketing piece that you put out. Use them strategically where it makes sense, and then filter in the free items where you can't, kind of thing.
Yeah. I use most of that stuff for my website so that I had, consistently using them all the time, kind of thing. But that makes good sense.
That's a great point.
So what kind of posts get the most traction?
Oh, well, at the chamber, we found that people really like to see our staff. As funny as it sounds, like I'll send out an email a few days before and say, hey guys, it's Valentine's Day. If you can wear pink, red, and purple, we're going to take a team photo. And then we've taken them, and each time people love our image of that, just because we're showing off who we are, what we do, and that we are a team and we're happy to spend time together. So things like that react really well. But to give you an example of something that you could do just because, we had a World Emoji Day post that we put out 2 years ago. We're putting it again out this year. And when we posted it, we just said, can you describe your business using only emojis? So everyone would start posting them, but then I would go in as the moderator and guess what people's businesses were. Or if I knew what it was, be like, that's a great example, or that's a great way of thinking, oh, I didn't know you did that as well, from the emojis. But it's one way of getting some engagement without having to really think about it. And I just put a bunch of emojis and describe your business as an emoji as the content. So that was pretty cool.
I can confidently tell you that on World Speedo Day, there will be no image of me touting an on-brand Speedo for the chamber in any way, shape, or form. So
I wasn't going to ask, but
yeah, that's good. But feel safe. It's all good. I see people with lots of followers and minimal social posts. Should I go back and delete previous posts with low likes? The other side of that too is that I know when you're sort of managing your social media channels, you always want to have more followers than you're following. I mean, so there's a ratio in there. I would often go back and delete people that weren't following me to create some room and activity. Is that something that's worthwhile? Like sometimes it can take a lot of time.
Yeah, so one of the tips I would say is don't go back and delete previous posts. They're there again to show longevity and consistency, but people with lots of followers and minimal posts, you never know. It could have been that they restarted, or that they bought likes, that they bought followers. One of the tips I give people is that if you're a local person, go in and follow other local businesses. Your competition, your chamber, any of the networking groups in the area are happily sharing posts like that. It's a way to get a feel for what they're sharing business-wise to what you're sharing, but also just general content that's local. So when we started our Instagram following, it was going in and following tons and tons of local businesses. It didn't matter if they were a member or not. We just wanted to know about what they were sharing, what content they wanted to see from us. So that was really helpful. And then they would follow us back. And then we grew our following that way.
It's a good sales tactic as well. If you're following a business that you want to sell to, having an idea of what's important to them and what kind of content they put out, maybe new products that they're putting out. When you go in and actually sell to that business, you've got an idea of what's new, and it's sometimes it's just an icebreaker. You can send it even on a LinkedIn. I've been following your posts. It's really interesting. I'd love to sit and have a coffee with you. Sometimes that that kind of social selling, which is becoming a lot more prevalent, really starts with you just paying attention to what your customers, your potential customers, are putting out.
And we do that too. When we get new followers on Instagram, I'll often start engaging in some of their posts. Oh, great content. I didn't know you sold that. And just little things like that 2 or 3 times. And then I'll go to our salespeople, or I'll make the introduction myself. Hey, have you heard about the Barrie Chamber? This is what we do, especially if they start interacting back with me.
Yeah.
But it's crazy how many new businesses can join just because we talk to them through one post or 2 posts. So
it's effective. It works. I mean, especially these days where you can't get out and bang on a door, being able to, you know, have some sort of contact with a business is really important. So if somebody likes a post or my page, should I call them or message them right away and to chat or see if they want to buy from me? So kind of along the lines of the question we had there, I don't know. It's almost like a speed dating question. Should I call back the next day or should I wait a week? You know, there's that whole, I don't know if you remember the movie Singles, but you know, what's the right timing as far as reaching back out?
Yeah, for sure. And I think to call them right away would be a jump. I would at least leave it a day or 2 because maybe they were just commenting to kind of see what happened too. Maybe comment back to them and start a conversation would be my suggestion, rather than right away, hey, obviously you wanted to buy my product, here it is. It's not, maybe they're not ready to purchase yet, but breaking the ice, basically, like you said, is really helpful. So, hey, like, I noticed you saw our product. Did you have any questions? In a direct message kind of thing would be good. But I wouldn't pick up the phone like, hey, you commented on our post. You obviously you should join the Barrie Chamber. Would not be as effective for us.
Aaron, did you have a question? Are they still muted? No. Okay. Sorry, somebody took their mic off there.
That's okay.
Is it okay to reshare a past post that got a lot of traction?
So yeah, for sure. But I wouldn't share it all the time. So for us, I've created like the Canada Day post that I did. It's pretty generic. There's no year associated with it. But if there was, why not use the same content that got great traction and just refresh it? And oftentimes I'll use the same content and just switch out the background photo based on last year's event. Makes it easier for you and makes it know that it's going to work well. One of our posts that we've shared it a number of times too is how to support a business without spending any money. And I've shared that post out maybe 4 times a year. I make sure it's spaced out. I'm not going to share it every month because that would get overwhelming. But that refresher of, oh yeah, if I like someone's post, but if I love it, it's even better. Or if I make a comment, even just an emoji, that's going to get better traction for them. That really helps too.
Cool. Last question I have on the board here, and then hopefully there's some more that pop up. I haven't seen a lot from the field yet, so if you have some, please get them in. Oh, there's one there. Good. I've been approached by other companies about sharing posts and cross-promoting. Any thoughts about how I can support other businesses yet not lose my own brand image? What should I consider before resharing?
That's a good question. As long as it's a equal benefit type post, I would say it's a good idea, especially if you're collaborating. So if it's something that you're going to benefit from showing off to your followers that makes sense with your brand, then yeah, why not? But definitely look at what the pros and cons are. If there's money involved, that's a whole other story. If it's promoted content, another story again, because then you're paying for the ads and stuff like that. But if it's just you using someone's product and showing it to your followers, that's great. It's win-win. Why not?
Yeah, we do a lot of that work with the people in the ecosystem within Barrie. You know, whether we're sharing a chamber, a BIA or sandbox information, and also with the the OCC and the Canadian Chamber. You know, any content that is good and can be shared is great. And that collaborative approach helps us to gain traction as well. We get audiences that we wouldn't normally get by sending that stuff out.
Yeah.
So a question from the group. If I want to run a contest for people liking my page, do I need to include everybody who already liked it before the contest started or just new likes? That's
a good question. There's a lot of legalities around contests and all different per platform. So I would recommend focusing, if this is your first time doing a contest, looking at what platform you want to run it on. Don't run it cross-platform. So if you're going to put it on just Facebook or just Instagram, with Facebook being that it's page likes, you have to consider how you've worded that. So if it's for every new like you get entered into the contest, then you've specified that. If you've got 10 new people, those 10 people are eligible, but not the other 150. But if it's a total contest across the platform, everyone's eligible. So when you pull that name, it's whoever was already liking your page. But just be mindful of what is legal about it too, because I know we've researched it before putting things like that out too to make sure. So yeah, my main recommendation is don't cross-platform post a contest, especially if it's specific to one. And liking stuff can be really construed too, because on Instagram it's still like, as well as on Twitter. But if the contest is only running on Facebook and you didn't specify that, that's just a whole mess.
Sounds good. Last question again. So hopefully we can get a few more from the field before we close up. Do you add the same post to all social media platforms or change them for each platform? For example, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all the same post. I don't know, I think we kind of answered this a little bit, but maybe a bit more specific there.
Sure. So it depends on what it is that you're posting. If it's something that makes sense to be across all platforms, hey guys, we're closing early today, it's going to be the same content and post information. I don't need to rework the wheel for that. But like I said, if it's something like a press release, maybe I'm creating a graphic for Instagram that says our press release for Women in Business is now out, versus me just posting that link to our press release on LinkedIn. And Facebook, the same kind of thing. Facebook likes photos, so I would add the photo and the link into that one versus just the link or just the photo on the other two.
Gotcha. Greg, did you have a question?
No, sorry.
Okay.
You can hear me? I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. No problem. Some of you guys are muted.
I'm sorry. I've got phone calls going here. I forgot where I was.
No problem. It's all good.
Oh, that's okay.
And the last question we've got here is, what are the best ways to get my business reshared to the Barrie Chamber social media?
That's a great question. First of all, you should be a member of the Barrie Chamber, and that's usually what I lead the conversation with. Hey, are you a member of the Barrie Chamber? Because I can get your post shared a little bit easier. Secondly, I love seeing when members work with other members in a natural way of, hey, like this photographer took photos for this new business, and then they're posting that to Instagram. I'm sharing that every day of the week if I could, but that content's not always there. But for instance, if you're a charity and you're running an event that's for a not-for-profit, we're more likely to share your content. Whereas if it's just, hey, can you share my sale? I can't necessarily share that through our channels because you're making money off of it. And we want to be fair to all members, especially if there's similar businesses in the same situation. Yeah,
that makes total sense. And most important part being, make sure that you're a member of the Barrie Chamber.
Always be a member, yeah.
And we like to spend lots of time helping people move their businesses forward as best we can.
Yeah.
So the last comment I have in here, this is sort of for me, and it's more sort of our philosophy, is that be open to new ideas. Steal shamelessly from others that you think have done a good job. Change it, make it yours. But the concept, the idea, if it works for someone else, it's probably going to work for you. And I wouldn't necessarily steer it from your neighbor or whatever, but if you're, we spend some of our time looking at other chambers and what they're doing to stay relevant, and some of them have really, really great ideas, and you'll see some of that stuff coming out in the near future. But recreating the wheel doesn't make any sense. Take ideas that are good and run with them, and use your time wisely doing other things.
Yeah,
so,
and I think that kind of goes back to watch your competition's feed. Like, you never know what they're putting out, and if it's not in your city, even better, because then maybe you can copy their content, make it your own, obviously, but that gave you that idea, and you can build on it.
Yeah, not everything's going to work exactly the way it did there as to where it's going to work here. You have different industries, all that kind of stuff to be able to sell to, but
and don't just copy their post either. That would be really bad.
Yeah, that's probably not a good idea.
Create your own concept for it, but take their idea and run with it. Yeah.
Exactly. Sorry, I got another question here.
Sure.
And then we're gonna wrap up. can you elaborate on members working together posts? Like we are hosting an event together, or I'm shopping at their store, do I tag the chamber?
So yes, always tag us, because then I have more of a chance of seeing it. But it could be either way. So if you're just frequenting, hey, I shopped local today, because they're a Barrie Chamber member, that's awesome. I definitely want to share that information too. If you're hosting an event together and you're both chamber members, yeah, we're more likely to share that. But we probably wouldn't give it an individual post per se. But a lot of the time, the content that you guys are sharing and tagging us in is shareable to our stories. So we make sure that it goes there. And then we also add that into our archives. On Instagram, we have stories at the bottom. So you can see all the different our member stories where people have worked together, and we've shared that out.
Right. And what are our taglines? It's hashtag Barrie Chamber.
Yeah, you can hashtag, we have our hashtag Barrie Chamber, but we also have at Barrie Chamber. So if you put that tag right in the photo or in the bottom, there's ways of hiding it in your photos and stuff like that too when we get tagged, but that would be one way of doing it.
Sounds good. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up because we're getting close on time here.
Yeah.
Sorry, there's one more question in here. We'll see if it's relevant and we'll go from there. Yeah, we'll maybe add that one in a bit afterwards. So thank you very much, Kayla. I think you did an excellent job. I know public speaking, getting out and putting yourself out there is something that's completely out of your comfort zone most of the time. I'm nice to see that you're presenting from your office.
Yeah, my makeshift office here.
I can see Mr. Penguin and a teddy bear in the back. Yeah. Very, very interesting. But you did a great job, and we appreciate the everything that you do at the chamber, and I know our members do as well. So in closing, thank you for joining us and for the hard work you're doing in your business every day. We urge every leader in our community to maintain their focus on slowing the pace of transmission of COVID-19, whatever stage of operations their business may currently be in. Barrie Chamber is here to help you through this. Please feel free to email us or call us if you need something more. We implore everyone to please shop local. We need more than ever to support our local businesses, whether it's from a takeout restaurant or gift certificates to help the business ride out the storm. Every little bit will help someone. If you're ordering from, Skip the Dishes, whatever, order the food and then go and pick it up. It's gonna put a lot more money in that restaurant's pockets than Skip the Dishes pockets. As our province takes steps towards reopening, please ensure that you continue to follow social distancing requirements and take them seriously. The safety of our community is a responsibility of all of us collectively. Well, have a great day. Thank you very much for attending. I think this was great content, and we will see you at our next webinar, which is this Thursday. I think we're working on, we have a virtual town hall coming up, and we're still working on panelists for that one, but we'll have more stuff coming out on social media this week, so stay tuned. Okay, thanks very much. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye. Okay, just going to save the, remember to save